Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Essays and Espresso podcast. We haven't been in the recording booth in a hot minute, but we're back.
Yes, and we have to get out really quick. That's why Daniel's talking so fast. We only have the booth for another 30 minutes.
Yeah, and then they're going to kick us out. You know, it's kind of like one of those stage plays where they get the hook or whatever and they drag you off stage. It's kind of like that, except with more police. Acer, how are you been?
I've had COVID since we recorded, and I've been terrible, but I'm getting better. I also almost degloved my right index finger. Did I talk to you guys about that off stream?
I believe you did, but why don't you enlighten the audience?
Well, so you know how you have a knuckle, and you know how you have two joints in your fingers? I made a cut on my right index finger from my knuckle to my second joint, and I had to glue it all back together in hopes that it would just heal naturally. And now a week later, I've taken the bandage off and it's healed by itself. People told me, "Oh, Acer." They didn't say Acer, they used my real name. "Why don't you go to a doctor?" And I said, "Why don't you go to the gym, you absolute beta male loser? Go to a doctor. That's not for me. It's not for me, guys."
That's not degloving, because you did say, you did use that word, and then I looked it up.
Degloving is when you take off the skin from the entire palm.
Yeah. No, what?
This
not
is
the
just
palm. I thought the fingertip.
Is it just the Yeah, but my point is, because I had come to know the term when I watched Gerald's game, and when I made the cut, I'm like, it was bleeding a lot, but I'm like, did I see bone? Did I see bone? I don't know. And I'm like, if I move the finger right now, when I had made the cut, I was pretty convinced that if I just closed it and opened it again, that I would just flick off. The skin would just peel off. I don't know if it actually would have, but I'm like, I could deglove my own finger right now. Should I record it and put it on Snapchat? Nah, I'll just clean it up and close it.
This sounds fucking insane.
I'm a pretty tough guy, Daniel. This is what I do. I also had COVID, and I feel like I lost 20 IQ points, and I'm like gradually getting them back, because like I had like COVID brain, which some people get, and I'm like, I hope I get them all back.
It sounds like life really just took a shit in your cereal.
Yeah.
But you're feeling better now.
I'm stronger than ever, except for how I still have like pangs of headaches, and how my finger aches whenever I move it.
So
awesome.
Stronger than ever.
So yeah, I have not caught COVID at all, and it's actually really bizarre that I haven't, because both my sister and my dad got it, and two coworkers of mine got it, and one of those coworkers in particular, someone that I work very closely with. So I don't know if I'm asymptomatic or if I'm just like stupid lucky.
Maybe you had it already.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe you have natural immunity.
Also,
Maybe.
you can have it twice. You can get it 3 times, 4 times.
But
You're not
I'm
safe.
like, I don't know. I have no idea. Just because like I haven't gotten like any of the regular symptoms that. Like, I have not gotten so sick that, like, I felt like I was dying or anything crazy like that.
There was a moment, like, on day 2 for me, because when I had COVID, during the worst part of having COVID, I was just sleeping, and then I'd go to take a shower when I woke up, and I'd just wait for 30 minutes, and then I'd go to sleep again. And I did that for, like, a day, maybe 2. And when it was at its absolute worst, I could no longer conceptualize myself as a human being, and I came to see myself as like a light traveling through a curved piece of glass that was sort of fracturing into, like, with a prism. And I'm like, no, surely that's not who I am. I'm a person, right? But I was like, it was like I was drugged up on something.
That sounds pretty insane.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
I feel like you're the opposite of that Trump tweet, where he tweets about how much he beat COVID to death. in his body.
Yeah, well, Trump, he had like doctors giving him a bunch of steroids and stuff. I was just in my apartment. And I'm like, oof. This is a rough one. Yeah.
Also, that Trump tweet isn't real, but still.
That Trump tweet is
about how it wasn't. It wasn't DNA. It was USA.
Yeah, that one.
That
all-time favorite tweet, to be honest.
Honestly, it couldn't have come from Trump because it was too clever.
My favorite is very cool and very legal.
What is that? A Trump tweet?
I don't know if it was a tweet or if he just said it off the cuff at some point, but it's like I love that phrase, very cool and very legal. Or was it very legal and very cool? It was either one, but either case, primo stuff.
I think it works either way. Boken, what have you been up to?
Oh Jesus, what the fuck! It's been months.
It has been.
Do you expect me to sum up months of my life?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
We should maybe explain, because there are episodes in the backlog, right?
Yeah.
From the last record. Yeah. We haven't recorded since June?
Yeah. So a big reason for that is because I went through a hellacious move. I went through like easily the worst move I've ever been through. And there was like a good like 2 to 3 week period where I was living in a hotel, and it fucking sucked. It was
and that
was pretty bad.
That happened after I had a bunch of exams, and then I got COVID, and it's just like the perfect storm of the three of us not being able to coordinate together.
Right. And then eventually when I got into my new place, the place was a dump, and we spent a lot of time cleaning and painting and had to buy all new furniture. And then there was a whole fiasco with my desk, where I placed an order for a desk from Staples, and for whatever fucking reason, the courier service that they hired could not find my house, and instead kept marking that they delivered the desk, even though they didn't. So it got to the point where like the head of like the Staples like delivery service or whatever called me on my phone and was just like, hey man, we're sorry, blah blah blah. It was just like this whole fucking disaster until eventually I got it, and now I finally have it, so everything is good now. And for all that headache, the only thing they really realistically did about it was give me a $50 coupon.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
So you can give them more money? Awesome.
I was like, you motherfuckers, you should have just made the desk free, but I was like, fuck it.
No, you can. You should not poo-poo $50, Daniel. $50 will buy you a cup of coffee.
But it's not even $50. It's just, they just force you to use their shitty shop again.
No, yeah, it wasn't.
But it's like $50 like of free products.
It wasn't like a $50 like gift card. It was a $50 in-store credit for their store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like 50, I don't know what kind of store it is, but if it's like furniture and shit, $50 really isn't much.
No, it's Staples is like an office store, so they have stuff like
you can buy a lamp.
I ended up like just using it for a monitor that I got as a gift for my cousin.
Oh, nice.
Because his monitor had like a kind of like a nasty like dark line going through vertically that is really distracting, and I was like, this is unacceptable. So I just got him a nice new better monitor.
Yeah. What do you do with the old one? I need another monitor.
He's using it now as like a secondary monitor.
He didn't have a secondary monitor?
Can I have it? Can I have his I need a third monitor, Bogan. I only have 2.
Bogan, why did you freak out about that?
Because your cousin sounds like a psychopath. Or what did you say? Was it a cousin?
Yeah. Well, why is he...
He's sitting at home with a faulty monitor that has a line going through it, and he doesn't even have a second one already? The fuck is going on with him? How you living?
He's 14.
So?
Bogan, when you...
He doesn't. He can't just like splurge on a new monitor if he feels like it. He doesn't have regular income.
Unacceptable.
What do you mean unacceptable? He's just a kid.
Yeah, the parents are. I blame the parents, to be honest.
The parents are not the wealthiest.
Talk about first world problems, though.
Not to mention,
there's a line in the monitor.
Not only that, but I felt a little personally responsible because his original monitor was also a gift from me initially. So
Wait,
the fact
did it
that
have the line when you gave it to him?
No, it didn't. It was something that happened a little later.
You think he did that to like make you feel guilty so he could get another monitor out of you?
No. Like he said that after a while it stopped bothering him and it wasn't a big deal for him. But for me, it was just like, nah, this sucks. I need to fix this.
All right, that's pretty cool of you to fix it. I would have used a coupon to buy like pencils or pens.
Oh wow, I really need pencils and pens.
You know, you never have enough pens. I go to the shops whenever I go to like buy groceries or whatever. I always swipe one pen or maybe 2 or 3 because you never know when you need a pen. And by the way, where do you get pens? Where do you get pens? You don't get pens anywhere. That's why you have to take them from the store.
No, I do have a billion pens at work.
Oh,
I also have a billion pens here, and I didn't even have to try.
So
can I have some of your pens, Bogan, man?
So Acer,
I have like a drawer. I have a drawer full of pens, and it's just like this one's from this grocery store. This one's from IKEA.
Why do you have a drawer full of pens?
Why? How often do you write?
I write like I also have like probably 100 or 200 little black notebooks that I stole once, from like an office that was closing. I was just like, this stuff is going in the trash. Do you want something? And I'm like, I'll take this box of 200 black notebooks. And it's like, that was a great take for me because I use that when I'm like making videos and I need to write down like notes and stuff, or when I'm designing games and I need to make some doodles or whatever.
What's Young Pope?
Young Pope is a series. So my understanding is it's an HBO series. But my understanding is that HBO did not actually make this series. This series was made in Italy, but that HBO had bought it and had published it in like given it like it's independently made, and then HBO bought it and distributed it. And it stars Jude Law, everybody's favorite. What?
For the record, directed by Paolo Sorrentino, who made one of my favorite movies of all time. It's called The Great Beauty.
He is incredible, and it's okay. The Young Pope, Bogan. This is not a series that like stuck with you when we talked about it, yeah?
No, and I'm also shocked. Like I just looked it up, and they never made a second season.
Yes, they did. It's called The New Pope.
Oh, okay.
It stars John Malkovich. Are you going to comment on that?
Weird. Okay, cool.
Anyways, so The Young Pope, when it was pitched to me, the pitch was basically you have sort of a postmodern pope who comes into this pre-modern command structure that has disintegrated into like political infighting, and he's trying to rehabilitate it into what it's supposed to be. And all the while, he's also trying to get the homosexuals out of the Catholic Church. And I just heard that, and I was struck by just what an insane premise this was. And if you're looking at it as like a religious show, there's definitely a lot to get into there. But I think this is a lot more interesting as a political show. I think this is way more interesting than like a House of Cards or something like that. Just how Jude Law has to navigate all of these archaic structures that, you know, we have the cardinal papacy of Saint Babubaba, and this was created 400 years ago to deal with this, and it's this organization, it has just stuck around, and it doesn't have, like, it's still following this mandate that's completely out of touch with reality, and he's just like he has to wrestle with all of these ridiculous political infightings because he's trying to like save the church, but the church he's trying to save isn't the church that anybody, like even the people in the Vatican itself, want to be a part of anymore. So I thought that was really interesting. I love the character of what's her name, Mother Antonia. Oh, and yeah, by the way, Daniel, spoilers for episode 1. He doesn't believe in God, right? He himself. Yeah, and it's like that makes it so much more interesting. Like, why are you trying to restore this thing if you don't really believe in it? And I'm not going to spoil the reasons for that. I think as the show sort of goes on and you get to it unravels more and more who this character is and why he does the things he does. It makes a lot of sense, but there's So what's his name? Paolo Sorrentino.
Sorrentino.
Yeah, I don't know how involved the Vatican was with the making of this show, but I get the feeling that he actually has a lot of love for sort of traditional Catholicism. The last time I went to church, we have like one Catholic church in Iceland. I went to a Protestant church, and it was my it was my uncle's confirmation. And whenever you go to church, it's always like some guy has a bald spot, and he's dressed like a priest, and he's like, "Oh, and lo, we got the fish." And then you have to sing it too, and it's like, this is so sterile, and it's so cringe to kind of be in this environment. But when you watch the young Pope, and you see all these people in these outfits, and it's like, it's presented as something really majestic, and you look at it and you're like, oh, I get it now. Like, I get why you could be into this. And it's like, it almost makes like Catholicism cool in a way. I also love all the sort of little side characters they have, like Mother Antonia, I think she's based probably on Mother Teresa. Did either one of you ever read the Christopher Hitchens book about Mother Teresa, Missionary Position?
No.
I know who Christopher Hitchens was, but I didn't realize he wrote a book about Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa was a scumbag. She was an absolute scumbag. And Missionary Position is sort of like clawing behind the facade and showing like, no, this is who this woman really is. And you get to see that in the young Pope. We also have, I really like Cardinal Voiello. I think the actor who plays him played Berlusconi in some movie about Berlusconi. And I was very saddened when I learned that mole he has isn't actually real, because it's such a like, wow, that's a big mole. He's really great, and they humanize him a lot, I feel, when they gave him that mentally disabled, like that mentally challenged uncle. And I think it's really interesting because he's really this sort of, you have him and Father Spencer, and Voiello is like a progressive Catholic, whereas Spencer is a more conservative Catholic, and Spencer is the guy who mentored Jude Law. Voiello is the guy who wrangled the political machinations to make Jude Law the Pope rather than Spencer, because he believed he could control Jude Law. And the dynamic between these two men, Voiello and Jude Law, is really interesting because it's like, Voiello, if you just play along with Jude Law, if you just do the things the Pope is telling you to do, if you just stay loyal, you can get all the things that you're trying to get. You don't have to go like behind the scenes and do all these little political machinations, but he just can't do it. Like, he's so invested in this sort of stagnant organizational way of doing things. What else? His brother. I really liked what they did with his brother. Well, his not blood brothers that grew up in the same orphanage together. I thought that was super interesting. I love his little priest friends. I don't know. It's a very hard show to talk about without getting really deep into spoilers, and it's one of those shows which I really don't want to spoil.
Okay.
So
you definitely piqued my interest. I'm probably also going to check out that Christopher Hitchens book.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I've done a bunch of stuff, but
you wanted to keep it lean and mean?
Well, it's more just like a lot of the stuff that I've been doing, like Kenobi and stuff like that. That's already on the dock. And also I've been doing a bunch of exams, and I've been sick a lot. So my backlog for this episode is rather light.
I see. Well, Boken, I see you also...
Young Pope. Young Pope. Highly recommended. Highly recommended.
Have you also seen New Pope?
I looked into the first episode, and it felt a bit sort of off to me, and I just did a bit of Googling to see like what the consensus on that show is, and apparently it's like, if you really like the Young Pope, there's stuff to like in the New Pope, but it is kind of a backstab. Like it doesn't go. It's not nearly as daring as the original season, and I don't want that. I don't want to see a compromised season 2. I think that's interesting though, because it's the same director. He's directing it, writing it still. I think the problem is that the original series, Young Pope, that was made by him and then sold to HBO, whereas the New Pope was probably commissioned by HBO, and I imagine there's a bit more sort of, executive oversight on it.
Makes sense.
Which might explain why we didn't get a season 3. COVID might also explain that, but
right. So it seems like they wanted to make the Young Pope, and then they were obligated to make the New Pope.
Well, no, they already made the Young Pope, and then they sold it to HBO. And
that's what I think. No, that's what I mean. Like they made the Young Pope.
You mean the creative team, not HBO?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. People behind it probably didn't expect there to be a season 2, so they put everything that they wanted to in the Young Pope.
Yeah.
Although it was weird, because I don't remember much about the show, but I remember the ending not feeling like an ending.
I think that's something we may want to talk about if Daniel ever watches the series.
We might have the Young Pope episode of the podcast.
Yeah. It's very interesting because if you make a show that is explicitly exploring the nature of politics and power, and you set it in like Washington DC, people are so invested in like the people and the organizations there that you're always going to piss someone off. But the Catholic Church, like, nobody, like, yeah, there are Catholics definitely, but it's the people who are watching the Young Pope, people who are on HBO, probably that's not their group. And because it's so disconnected from like the politics, they can really, really go as far as they want with this without fearing that they're going to lose anyone. And I thought that's really interesting. So, highly recommended. Highly, highly recommended. It's way better than BoJack Horseman. That I can tell you.
No, you can't say that, because fuck you. But I will give it a shot. It's only 10 episodes, so I could bang that out. Boken, what have you been up to?
Okay, I've watched The Boys, season 3. I know, Asa, you have too.
I have to.
And I remember you writing that you didn't like it. I think your wording was that you're disappointed by it.
Yeah. So the first time we talked about The Boys, I remember I brought up the point that this was written originally as like explicitly an anti-Dick Cheney, George Bush sort of story, whereas like, look at the foreign policy that's being organized by these people. And I feel like updating it to like Trump, there's a lot of stuff that in translation I feel just misses. With this season, I feel like it's really it's really resting on on Homelander and Soldier Boy, and I feel everything else is really bad in comparison.
So I wouldn't say really bad, but I definitely agree that
it's a downgrade, I would say, not necessarily bad.
Well, but I think it's still better than season 2. I think
you think so?
The first half of season 2 was really bad, and but it's like Homelander is carrying this whole franchise, to be honest, and Anthony Starr as an actor, or Anthony, I don't know. But I don't know. I've still enjoyed the season, to be honest. It felt a bit more structured, and most characters at least had shit to do. Like there are way too many characters anyway, but I think they did enough with most of them, and it like, you know, it's like, okay, set up and payoff, and even minor characters like Frenchie and Mother's Milk at least have an influence on the ending of the season, you know.
Sure.
Mother's Milk?
His name is Mother's Milk, yeah.
What the hell?
I don't know.
It's probably not as real. Like, that's just what they call him.
It's a bulky black man, and he's called Mother's Milk.
Okay.
Yeah. I also like I'll watch another season of The Boys. Like I'm not off this completely. But it does sort of irk me that the idea of like a Superman gone wrong has entered like the public conversation, because comic books have been doing that for 40 years now, and there are so many better examples of that than Homelander, and I feel like it kind of sucks that Homelander is the one to introduce it rather than well, I mean, you have Omni-Man in Invincible, and that's being made. You had Irredeemable. This is like, ooh, this is the one. Ugh.
Really?
Why not the Sentry?
I like Homelander.
I like Homelander funny too, but if you're just like this archetype of Superman, but he's bad, like Mr. Majestic from Wildstorm, like that sort of more militant Superman, or the Sentry from Marvel. There are so many better executions on this that I feel like, I don't know. But I like Homelander. I like the performance. I also like the actor. I love that that little animatic people made where it's like the Deep, he like turns around and then there's a cut and he's like clearly in another scene walking up steps, and then there's another cut and he's hugging Homelander. It's such an amazingly like poorly executed little scene.
The show is very, very memeable. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed just the classical. I enjoyed looking forward to another episode every week, and like Twitter bring out a bunch of memes, you know, like the classical modern TV show experience.
Yeah.
That you don't have when they just dump a whole bunch of shit all at once. And I think this show was like funny and kind of audacious and good enough that it was actually like part of my week that I looked forward to.
Yeah.
And
like I said,
I don't really get that often these days.
Yeah, well, I really hate batch releases. I used to like it when Netflix first started, and like it like, oh, it's Daredevil season 1 and you can just watch it now. But man, there is something really magical about, no, this is something you get once a week. And it gives you time to actually digest the story. It gives you time to like have a conversation about it with people. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you explain to me why there are only superheroes in the United States?
Okay, you already talked about this. So the reason, the classical comic book reason for why superheroes are only in the USA is because no other country is writing superheroes. And the people who write superheroes, they live in America, so they write about America. The in-universe reason, I don't know if it exists. Like probably, Vought is probably the only company that manages to crack how to do this. And I know that's a very unsatisfying answer, but that's the best answer I can figure.
Well, it's like, you know, I mean, spoilers, but at some point it is revealed that superheroes are lab experiments, and you're not born to be superheroes, you get created as one.
Yeah.
But if only Vought does it, then it should be very obvious to everyone, including the rest of the world, that they're not natural heroes. Because if they were natural, they would be born in other countries too.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't know. This series sometimes becomes international. There's Russia involved. Then you have like, I don't know. There was some kind of from Afghanistan, like a terrorist with superhero powers.
Yeah,
Shit
they
like
did.
that.
They showed us some stuff with Operation Paperclip and the Nazis and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like there's a problem with some American shows and movies where they just don't factor in the rest of the world, and it makes things very weird. I had the same issue in what was it called? Don't Look Up, where it's like, okay, this is only about America trying to tackle the problem of this comet coming towards the Earth, and the rest of the world like doesn't even factor into the narrative. What about fucking China and Russia? Wouldn't they do something, even though the US is like holding back their involvement?
Did you ever? I don't know. You probably never read the Ultimates.
No.
It's Marvel Ultimate. That's like a parallel universe of Marvel where, Spider-Man has come up to issue 4050. Let's just restart the whole thing. Ultimate Spider-Man, completely disconnected from all continuity. We're just rebooting it. And then they did, like, what about Ultimate Iron Man? And the Ultimates, that's the Avengers. And that's, like, where you get Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury and stuff. Thor, in that, is introduced. He's kind of just like a peace-loving hippie who lives in Norway. And what Loki does, like, Loki is one of the big villains in Ultimates 2, I think. I think Ultimates 1 was the Hulk, and Ultimates 2 was Loki. Loki, he begins to sow seeds of deception within people, and just manipulating reality a little bit here and there. And the world comes to believe that Thor is actually not a Greek, like a Norse god, but he's actually a Norwegian experiment to try to mimic the Captain America program. Like, he's Captain Norway. And you meet the scientists who are like, no, he's not a god, he's Captain Norway. Here's how you disable his powers. You just have to take that belt off of him. And it, like, works. And the thing is, as a reader, you actually don't know if this guy is really Thor or if he's just crazy. Because they'd never actually explicitly shown that he was magical. Yeah, like, that was super interesting. This idea of, like, oh, you have a Captain Norway. And of course you would have a Captain France.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be, of course, because, the US has a lot more resources in general.
True.
Like, there are only a couple of countries that could compete on a, like, military level and a research level, probably. But, people are still connected to one another. We are connected to other countries. We would probably talk about this. There's an international press. All of this shit, all of these complexities aren't usually, like, factored into these narratives, and makes it weird.
You'd think that India, with 1.5 billion people, would have had, like, at least one guy who has, like, super strength.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And if not, then it's very obvious that, something is going on in the US, and maybe someone on Twitter would mention it.
But it wouldn't go viral. Sadly.
I don't know. But yeah, okay, that was The Boys Season 3. I still liked it.
Yeah. Do you want them to do, we talked about this bit before we started recording. Do you want them to do the Professor X character? Or do you think that's a bit too much?
I don't know. I have no idea where this is going, to be honest. But why not?
All right.
Yeah. I watched a movie called Game of Death.
Okay. I imagine this has no relation to the Bruce Lee movie.
No, it doesn't.
Is there a little Chinese guy as the main character in this one?
No.
Alright, that's not Bruce Lee. We found out before recording that Boken has trouble telling people apart.
I know who Bruce Lee is, thanks. Although you
I think I could have beaten up Bruce Lee. That's just a hot take. Yeah, because okay, one finger push-up. The dude weighed what, 30, 40 kilograms? Like I could have done if I was as light as him, I could do that. And like I'm twice his size. I could easily beat him up. I'm like Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
How big was Bruce Lee?
Bruce Lee was
huge.
No, Bruce Lee was a tiny little guy.
Oh, he's 172. That's not tiny.
No.
Bruce Lee was not 172.
I thought you meant popularity-wise.
I just Googled. No, I just Googled Bruce Lee's height.
Yeah, that's a fake height you just got. He was a tiny little guy. You can tell because when he's standing like next to Chuck Norris and stuff, like Chuck Norris is tiny, and Bruce Lee is not bigger than him. Like this is like when Robert De Niro is like, no, I'm 175 centimeters. My man, you're not 175 centimeters. Or when Tom Cruise is like, no, I'm taller than 150. He's probably taller than 150.
I have multiple sites saying he's 172.
They're all fake. He was not 172.
I mean, I don't know how tall the dude was, but
I think
Bruce Lee was the shit.
Yeah, well, you know, all I'm saying is I could take an aspirin without eating shit. I could have beaten him up. I could also beat up Conor McGregor. I'm expanding the net.
Okay, dude.
I could have taken Mike Tyson. Yeah. I could take Butterbean.
How tall are you?
I'm like, I think I'm like 172. I think I could have taken Bruce Lee. I've got like street smarts that he doesn't have. I know a lot about gaming. I've got like good hand-eye coordination because I game a lot.
Batman
I could have taken
a gamer could do anything.
Yes. Very gamer.
Pathetic little gamer.
Anyway, I watched a movie called Game of Death. It's a terrible, terrible horror movie, which I watch a lot of, but usually they're not worth talking about. But I felt this one was. It's a movie, and, you know, stop me if you've heard this premise before, but it's like a group of friends, and they find a cursed game, and they start playing it, and the game, kills people, or it forces them to kill each other. You know, it's like one of those horror plots that they've that has been done to death 1 billion times. What I found really funny about this one is like the game has a rule, right? Like the people start playing, it takes a drop of your blood, and then the game, like the board, it shows a number, and the number is the amount of people that need to die before the game is over. Okay, these are the rules. And there's a timer that ticks down. You don't really see it, but you hear like a ticking sound from the game. It doesn't really show how much time is left. But every time the timer runs out, someone's head explodes. Okay? Unless you kill a person, and then the timer resets by itself, and the number goes down by 1.
Okay.
And so you need to reach 0, and the remaining people, when you reach 0, are safe and don't die. And this is the movie.
Is the plot twist that there's like not enough people to fill the number, so everyone dies anyways?
The plot twist is that the number that the game shows at the start of the game is 26.
Okay.
And there's like 7 people in this group.
Yeah. So it's exactly what I said.
It is exactly, but it's 26.
That's a lot.
And it's like, it's so, like, it's absurd. I was like looking at that, and, you know, they have the whole thing where it, like, it takes the first 30 minutes of like, oh, we're playing this game and, they're introducing the characters and blah, 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 banter. And then they don't even realize the game is cursed until the first couple of people die. And then they slowly figure out, oh, we need to, do something about this. And then like 35 minutes into the movie, it's like, okay, we're sitting in the back of a car. And somehow in the next 40 minutes, because this is a short movie, 24 people still need to die for this game to end. It's such an absurd fucking premise. It's like a bunch of teenagers and they now have to kill 24 people. And I just couldn't figure out what the fuck is going to happen, Because it's not like the movie's just gonna end in some stupid way. Like there has to be a conclusion to the story. And there's 40 minutes left for them to kill 27 people or 24 or whatever. It was like... And it just becomes so fucking stupid and funny, and I loved it. I don't want to say anything more about this, but you
wouldn't want to rob people of this horrible movie.
Yeah, I don't know. There has to be someone out there who's like me, who enjoys this shit.
Comment if you're the one.
I doubt it. I doubt it, but like, sure.
But do you get why I enjoyed this? Like, just from the premise, it's like, okay, typical horror movie. The group of friends turns on each other. Blah blah blah. I've seen this a billion times. No, 24 people need to die for this game to end.
It seems like they had like a nugget of a good idea.
I don't even know if it was intentional. It's just so absurd. I mean, I was baffled by this whole thing. It was really funny. And, it's rare that I just sit there and it's halfway through the movie and I'm like, where the fuck can this possibly go? Like, I don't even see how... I don't understand how this narrative can even function with the
especially for like Z-grade, like, trash that you usually consume. Usually they're, like, super predictable.
And this isn't like a genius movie or anything. It was a really bad horror movie, but I'm gonna say they're sticking to the rules.
Okay.
So it's Game of Death, made in 2017.
It was a joy. I'm definitely not gonna watch it, but cool.
Well, this is a movie we should do a movie commentary for, to be honest.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, that's definitely happening.
It's only 70 minutes. Come on.
Yeah, that's definitely happening.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Hey, Bogan, why do I have a site telling me that Bruce Lee was 170 centimeters now? And I have another one saying he's 169.
Nice.
These are all within like 3 centimeters.
Yeah, okay, but here I have him being like 64 kilograms. Bruh. I'm like twice that.
There you are.
64 kilograms is not that little.
I'm like morbidly obese.
I could take on Bruce Lee.
Are you?
No, I think
I don't know. I don't know what you look like.
You know what I look like. You saw me once. I went to
I
Florida
saw
and we went to Disneyland together. Remember?
Are you sure you didn't meet with the wrong person?
You know what? I might have.
Did I introduce myself as trademark Daniel Santos?
You didn't. That's the deal. Missed out on that one. Also, Bruce Lee was born in 1940, so if I met him now, he'd be like 82 years old. I could easily destroy him.
You could probably kill his corpse, or like destroy his skeleton.
I could.
Yeah.
What a bummer that he died when he was like 32.
He died at exactly 32.
So...
How did you know?
I know because I'm a big Bruce Lee fan.
His shoe size was 9. Guys, come on.
Okay,
I'm sure Bruce Lee's ashes are not up to the fight.
Yeah, I'd destroy them.
I've seen all of his movies at least twice.
I think I could also take Ronda Rousey. And I could probably beat what's her name? The lady who plays tennis.
Serena Williams?
Yeah, I could probably take Serena Williams in tennis. I played some tennis back in PE when I was in elementary school.
You couldn't beat her up, but you could beat her in tennis.
Yeah, I could beat her in tennis.
I think she'd wipe the floor with you, probably. In a fist fight.
Not in tennis, though. I could beat her in tennis. You'll grant me that. Yeah. That's good. That's
so,
pretty good.
how was Kenobi?
You didn't
It's
watch
funny
it?
that you people keep saying Kenobi because it's called Obi-Wan.
I don't care.
And I just wrote down Kenobi as a joke because I hate these naming conventions.
Who cares? We know what we're talking about. That's what matters.
I fucking hate this so much, you know.
You hated it.
No, I hate. Well, okay, I didn't like it, but I hate these names. These one, like the name of the show is just a word.
The name of the character.
Name.
You know when we reboot
Andor, Obi-Wan,
Bogan. You know when
Loki.
we revive the Essays and Espresso podcast 40 years from now, it's just going to be called Essays.
Essays.
I don't want to think about where we're going to be at in 40 years. Why'd you say that?
I'll probably still be doing the podcast. Tactical Espressionas action.
Yeah. Maybe 70-year-old men fucking talking about Final Fantasy like 35.
I'm not playing that.
Have we ever made the tactical espionage action joke?
No, I just wrote it on the Discord once.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I think I put it in the YouTube bio too. I may have. No, I think that's Espresso yourself.
Okay, that's pretty good. So how was the show? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it eh?
It was bad. It was boring as fuck.
It was
fuck Star Wars.
It was pretty alright at points. It was pretty bad at points.
Oh yeah, I'm not allowed to exaggerate anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. No, it was I don't know. It was like completely meh, and it had some really bad parts. I didn't get anything out of it.
I was so disappointed because I watched the first episode, and the first episode, I was like, "Oh, this is actually gonna be something." And I watched the second episode, and it's like, "Oh no, what is this?"
Not gonna be something.
What happens in the first and the second? Because I checked out in that first action scene with Leia, where she runs away from the people in the woods, and it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen.
You checked out at that point when she was running away from Flea?
Yeah. Was that the first episode or the second?
I think that's the first.
Okay.
But I
checked out pretty early.
Yeah, man, they made some guy has already...
No, I mean, I mentally checked out. I still watched it.
Oh, okay. You finished all of them?
Yeah.
Alright, so, in the first episode, it ends when Obi-Wan gets, on the ship, you see his lightsaber, and he's like, I'm going off Tatooine to rescue little Leia. And the second episode, that's the one where he's, in the city, and Moses Ingram has to do that god-awful parkour chase sequence for some reason.
Oh, yeah, on the roofs.
He meets Kumail Nanjiani, who is fucking terrible. He sucks. He's such a bad actor. I don't know why he keeps getting jobs. He's so bad. There
are nuggets of good scenes, just even in those first episodes. The intro where he's at the meat packaging facility or whatever. And it's just this monotonous routine that he goes through. That was really well done. And then also what is his name? Kumail
Nanjiani.
What?
Mr. Human Growth Hormone.
These fucking names.
No, that's his real name.
He's a known actor.
That's his real name, Daniel.
Oh, I thought that was the name of the character.
No, that's the actor's name. I forgot what the character's name was.
I apologize to the actor then. That was insensitive.
But it's racist.
I'm not being racist.
He plays a character who pretends to be a Jedi who helps refugees. Yeah. And he just makes a little bit of money off of that because he's really just a scumbag. And he pretends, I can close these windows with force, and then he does that, but it's really just a mechanism of like magnets and shit that he activates.
Yeah.
That was a really good setup. Like that was a cool operation, you know?
I hated that.
Why?
Why would you pretend to be a Jedi? Why wouldn't he just, smuggle people for money?
Because that's risky.
Oh, and pretending to be a Jedi and doing the exact same thing. Like, it's the same amount of risk, but you're just also pretending to be a Jedi.
Yeah, he didn't smuggle people. He just robbed them of their money and then sent them to some point.
Oh, he didn't actually smuggle them originally?
Happen. No.
I thought he was...
I think he was just scamming them.
Oh.
No,
maybe he was a pretty cool character. Maybe he's my favorite character. Maybe he's the hero.
Yeah.
Well, no,
and that's why I found it so weird that then he, like, borderline sacrifices himself for Obi-Wan.
Yeah. I just dropped my water bottle. We'll keep that in the edit. Yeah, it's
I feel like he didn't have a reason to pretend to be a Jedi if he was actually helping people.
No, it's also like I don't understand why they're doing this whole shebang of introducing this character, and he comes back and he does nothing, and it's like, why isn't this just Obi-Wan meets with a smuggler? And he has to actually deal with, like, a human trafficker. Because he's, like, a war hero. And he, like, back in the day when he met human traffickers, he would just, like, cut their heads off. But now, he's, like, on the back foot and he has to, like, actually just look away from, like, the horrible criminal element and all these corruption and stuff like that. No, it's, like, this goofy scene with Kumail Nanjiani. Great. I love the Temuera Morrison cameo. I wasn't expecting it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, shit, that's pretty good.
Who? What?
Temuera Morrison. He's Boba Fett. He plays all the clone troopers in the original trilogy, and he was like the homeless clone trooper in this one.
Okay, that's interesting.
The fuck are you talking about? I mean, I know what actor you mean, but
Obi-Wan walks past a clone trooper on the streets, and the clone trooper begs him for money. And it's Temuera Morrison with like a lot of beard and a lot of hair, and it's just like a hobo. And it's like, really? Oh yeah, that's pretty good. This happened. Why don't you remember this?
Because it was some random cameo, and I don't care for that actor.
Oh, fine.
So I need to ask, as the only person who hasn't seen it, I want to ask both Boken and Acer separately. Should I watch this show?
Yeah. See, I'm gonna go check out that Patterson cut, which transforms the show into like a 2.5-hour movie. I think that's probably better because it's like there's really good moments, but it's also a lot of filler, and there's a lot of like, why is this here? Like this is really bad.
Okay, all right. Get back to me after you saw that cut, and then tell me if that's worth watching.
I will.
Look, here's the problem, and why I wouldn't recommend watching this at all. It's the problem with this whole concept of like these shows that fill in between movies that have already existed. It's like, you know where Obi-Wan is ending up. You know where Leia is ending up. You know where all these characters are going. None of them can die. All of them are safe. The characters that they introduce are probably not safe and are going to die. It's the most predictable thing ever. Like, nothing that actually happens has any relevance or like consequences to them.
I feel like
the fact that there are a billion really poorly executed action scenes in this, I don't feel anything because all of these characters are going to be fine. They're not going to get caught and put into prison.
Well, that's not true. A lot of the characters here die. That one woman died.
Yeah, that one woman died, yeah. And then some random pilot who had 5 minutes of screen time also died.
I really felt that, man.
Yeah, what an awesome character.
Didn't you love when Obi-Wan was like the hunchback of Notre Dame trying to smuggle
Yeah, dude,
like,
the action scenes are so bad.
There.
They're so embarrassing. Like, this is beyond, being just bad action scenes. Like, these are actually laughable.
Yeah,
some of these scenes are just a joke, and I don't understand how someone films this.
I will say, without spoiling it, I think the final battle was actually pretty good. And like, even from like an emotional standpoint, I like, okay, this scene kind of redeemed a lot of this show for me.
I think it was too much filler bullshit to redeem it, but yes, the confrontations are okay. But I don't know. I guess I don't want to spoil it, even though there's nothing to spoil. Like, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight.
God damn you, Boken, you spoiled it.
Yeah, they fight to the death. Gee, I know both characters are going to survive.
You don't know
because
that.
They need to be in the fucking movie.
You don't know that. Maybe it's an alternate timeline.
What if that? Dumb.
What if the show had like Darth Vader cut off Obi-Wan's head, and then Uncle Owen creates a time machine, and he goes back in time, and he saves Obi-Wan, and then Darth Vader cuts off Obi-Wan's head again, and then you there's a text that you have a fade to black, and a text appears on screen that says "time loop?" ? And then that's the end of the final episode. Would that not have made it all worth it?
Totally. No, it's like Obi-Wan gets his head cut off, and then there's a narration, and it's like, no, wait, that's not what happened. Oh. Yeah. Suddenly we are out of the simulation.
Kind of like Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, where exactly. Whenever you mess up in the game, the prince is like, wait a minute, that's not what happened.
Yeah. I was thinking of the Assassin's Creed simulation, where suddenly we're outside in the real world.
I think it worked better in Prince of Persia.
Did you like the final cameo, Bogan? At the end? Without spoiling it for poor Daniel. You bastard.
Final cameo. Okay, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I didn't, because it was obvious that it was coming.
It came at the wrong time!
It did?
Yeah, it should have been... You remember when Obi-Wan was under all the rocks? That's when it should have happened.
Oh, and then he's like, yo, you need to believe in yourself, bro.
Yeah, you know what? When he was talking to Luke and he went like, hello there, I was like, okay, I hate that meme. I hate all the Star Wars memes. They're so unfunny. And it's such a big like Star Wars fan base that people just... It's so oversaturated with the same unfunny memes. But when that came up and he said that to Luke, I was like, damn it, that's actually pretty good. They did that. That was good.
He just said hello there.
Yeah, but like that's the level of Star Wars memes.
Yeah, it is.
I also loved watching Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor promote the show, because these guys, they don't give a shit about Star Wars. They're there because they got paid a lot of money to be there. And they aren't really putting in any effort to pretend otherwise.
And all these people in the crowd are like, oh, Hayden Christensen, you're redeemed. He's back, guys. We're so happy. This is so emotional. And then he's in 2 shots of the fucking scene, basically.
They made such a big deal about him coming back. People were just like fucking ecstatic. And he's barely in the fucking thing?
Well, so I've heard that he is sometimes in the Darth Vader suit. Not
sometimes, yeah. Not that you'd see it.
Yeah.
What does that matter?
Yeah. I think he's, like, in it more than you think. But, it's also like, well, he's not voicing Darth Vader. He's certainly not fighting for Darth... Like, I can't imagine Hayden Christensen is the one swinging the lightsaber. They must have gotten a bigger guy.
Because he's too small to be Darth Vader in size.
Yeah, he's taller than all of us, but he's way too small.
Yeah, so whenever Darth Vader appears on screen next to another person, they need to cut around that, or they need to have another actor play him.
They just could have him stand him on an apple box.
Or something like that, yeah, or just, shoot around the fact that you can never see him in those angles where it's obvious. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you see like a second of him in a tank. And then at the end, some part of his helmet breaks off and you see his face underneath.
There's
and you can barely tell that it's him.
There's another scene where you can see his face.
And I'm sure it was 2 seconds.
No, it was like a solid 5-minute scene.
What? Oh
The
yeah,
flash- yeah.
you mean the flashback?
I
Who gives a
love
fuck?
the flashback because they're like, it's an episode 2 flashback when both of them had butt ugly haircuts that they had to recreate. And it's like, why didn't you use the episode 3 haircuts when they both looked kind of presentable? Why is Obi-Wan with back to the fucking mullet? This looks so bad.
Like there's a 5-minute flashback where they say the most obvious things, you know exactly where these characters are going.
Yeah.
Oh, Anakin, you're too impulsive. Up.
Oh, Master, you can't win if you're afraid of making the move.
Yeah, it's... this franchise is so just bankrupt.
But
so
Bogan,
fucking
Bogan,
dead.
Is Anakin not too impulsive? He is impulsive. That's why it's important for Obi-Wan to say that.
Yes. That's why I need to hear this again. It's a great character moment. It's just this rich connection between Obi-Wan and Anakin. I'm glad we finally explored this.
Who was the actor that you
Wonderful.
wanted to die? Patrick Stewart, that's right. Because
Yes.
because I was just thinking, like, what is Disney gonna do when, like, Mark Hamill is dead and Ewan McGregor doesn't want to do this anymore? You have nothing. You don't have any character that anybody gives a shit about. You're gonna have to put some other guy in the Darth Vader suit and have him face, like, new threats, and nobody's gonna give a shit. I was just like, ooh, you, like, why, like, I'm thinking specifically about Adam Driver, who's, like, the best character in the sequel trilogy, and you killed him. Great.
Easily.
That character could have easily carried another trilogy by himself, like a redemption arc.
They killed Palpatine and brought him back.
Yeah, but it's like, imagine if Ben Solo had a redemption arc, like Lelouch in Code Geass Season 2.
No one's ever really gone.
I mean,
that's true.
He did. He did
No.
redeem himself.
Yeah, but it was balls. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was
I'm
terrible.
just like,
yeah.
I'm thinking, like, this, they're either gonna have to actually put somebody in charge of making a good movie, or they're gonna have to, like, or we're gonna look at, like, this horrible deep fake Star Wars future. It's gonna be so sad.
Yep.
No, I hate it.
Do you guys remember when I called that? When I was like, I think the reason they're doing deepfakes is because they learned the wrong lesson from Solo, and they think it bombed because they recast. And then, like, a week later, Kathleen Kennedy confirmed that was, in fact, the reason they did it.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
I called it, remember? I was talking to you guys about this. About the reason they're using deepfakes for Luke instead of recasting him is because they always learn the wrong lessons, these companies.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah. They always do. I mean, it reminds me of when, like, certain games that come out of Japan, they'll release, like, a shitty one from a series that no one gives a fuck about, and it'll bomb, and they're like, well, I guess people don't care about this series anymore, and it's like, no, you released, like, a weird spin-off that no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah, I love it especially when it's like, well, here we have a series that's been going on for 20 years, and it has a really dedicated fan base, but it's a very niche series. It's like a top-down sprite work RPG with, like, an inventory system we borrowed from this series here, and it's so niche. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make an MMO out of it. Oh, the MMO bombs. Guess we gotta cancel the whole series now because nobody played it. It's like, you didn't make it even for the people who like the thing. What do you think was gonna happen, man?
Yeah. Like Fire Emblem almost got completely axed. Like, not even just in the West, but just, like, in general, until they released the Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS, and then that one sold gangbusters, and it basically revived the series. But, like, right before that game, they released like one of the worst entries in the series. So it was like, and it was like a weird sequel to Path of Radiance, which is one of the best entries in the series. So, like,
which is the one where they introduced the waifus?
Awakening.
That's Awakenings.
That's your favorite mechanic, Daniel.
No, that's not my favorite.
Oh, I thought that was your
my
favorite.
My favorite is Path of Radiance.
That's interesting.
There is no waifu shit in that one.
Oh, that's right. The waifu stuff is not your favorite. The reason Radiance was your favorite was that it was great even though it didn't have the waifu stuff that you wanted. That's right.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
Well, you just did. Hey, Bogan, what's Stray?
We know what Stray is.
How the fuck do you not know what Stray is?
It's a cat game. Meow, 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 meow.
Yes.
You play as a cat?
Yes. You play as a cute cat, and that's where I got it.
Which, by the way, this was a game I had once had an idea for. A game where you play as a cat, and they stole that from me.
Yeah.
You had the idea to play as a cat in a cyberpunk city?
Not in a cyberpunk city. In
fact, as a cat.
Yeah, as a cat. In fact, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to put it out right now. My cat game would have been way better. Like, it was way better thought out than whatever Stray is, even though I haven't played Stray, and it might be pretty
Dude,
bad.
I played a cat game on MS-DOS in 1991, okay?
Prove it.
It's called LA Cat. You can look it up.
Yeah, I'm not looking that up.
That's how old I am. Played LA Cat on MS-DOS.
That's pretty old, man.
I'm pretty old.
Pretty old.
So I played Stray.
Really old.
And I don't know, it was kind of cute. I feel like I'm gonna forget about this game. Like, I finished it yesterday and it's a cute cat game. The cat is cute and the animations are pretty good. But, you know, there's not a lot of gameplay there. There's not a lot of story there.
Is it like a Limbo? Where you like just kind of have to walk in the same direction all along, or?
No, it is a bit more puzzly. Like, there's some
Limbo sucked.
There's some minor puzzles. There are some. Well, I guess Limbo had a lot of puzzles too, right?
It did. Yeah, it did.
And they were terrible because they were all physics based and sucked dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is like it's very light, but there are some puzzle sections. There are some stealth sections. There's like a sort of a shooting mechanic, but these are all like individual chapters, and then those mechanics get taken away.
Shooting mechanic for a cat?
It's not. You shine your light on things.
Oh.
But it's
lame.
Kind of like shooting.
Lame. Weak.
Because the cat is not alone; it has a robot friend.
Ugh. That's another idea I had.
I don't know. It's just there wasn't much to this game. I think the part I like the most is the soundtrack is pretty good. The environments are very pretty. This was the first game I played on my PS5 that I now have.
Oh, they got you.
Yep.
Shame.
And I kind of like it does kind of feel like you're playing a cat because you're very agile. Or like, you're not agile, but there are a lot of jump prompts, and there are a lot of different, you jump across roofs and shit. And it's not like you can fall, it's not actually jumping, it's just there are just a lot of prompts that make you jump to a different ledge or whatever, automatically. But there are enough in the environment that it feels like you can take kind of different paths, and it just, you feel, it looks like a cat would move across a couple of roofs or whatever. I feel like they kind of got that right in terms of looks, even though it's not awesome gameplay.
Do you think I would have gotten that right in my cat game?
No.
I think I would have. That's another thing they stole from me.
Okay. I think we have to disagree on that one.
I would have just had like the cat just clonking along. The legs don't even move, just like donk, 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 donk.
Yeah. So your cat would have been 2D and 8-bit.
No, he would have been 3D. Just like how you move a chair, like clonk, 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 clonk. Maybe I'd give him rockets. You move around like that.
So what would you call your cat game?
It was supposed to be cat RPG. The idea was that, because there's a couple of different versions of cats, and the idea was like...
But real quick, by RPG, though, you don't mean role-playing game, you actually mean rocket-propelled grenade.
Yeah. No, I meant role-playing game, and it was supposed to be like, here's a neighborhood, and you're a cat, and your objective right now is to get cozy. And maybe you'd climb up on some rafters and find like a cozy place, and you'd just rest there. Or maybe it'd be like, oh, be playful. And there's a few different ways you can express being playful. And you could play like different kinds of cat. You could like create your personality model. And you could be like one of those shit cats, those grumpy cats. And then you just have to hiss at people and be mean. You would explore the full gamut of cat. You could be one of those cats.
It's like Goose Game, but for cats.
No, Goose Game is shit, man. It would be a real role-playing game, except, well, it's not shit. It's very content
Goose Game is fun.
It's a very content creator-friendly game. But, no, it was supposed to be just like a role-playing game. It's like Deus Ex, except, you're a cat. You know? No, but it would be, you know?
So it would have been Deus Ex Feline Divided?
I'm gonna let that sit there for a moment.
Wait, what was the... Oh, yeah. You didn't even do anything clever. I thought that was like a line divided or something. That would have been a clever pun, but no. It's mankind divided.
Yeah, feline instead.
Yeah, no. Please work harder.
Oh, shut up. I'd like to see you come up with something half as good.
I can come up with something half as good, for sure.
Lies.
Meow kind divided.
That's better. Stop it.
No.
That's better. Meow is X. Mankind divided.
No.
Why is mankind divided in this one?
Post your cat pun titles in the comments.
Yeah, but it was going to be called Cat RPG. And it was just supposed to be like a chill. It's not a violent game, though you could hiss at people and other animals. Maybe you could like hunt a mouse or a bird.
But what is your goal? What are you doing?
You just like every now and then maybe you get a prompt on top of the screen that's like, you feel like you want to get cozy, or you want to hunt something, or you want to play. And then you just like, you'd figure out how to get the cat to express those emotions and those impulses.
So do I have to find all the cozy places? When does the game end?
It's just like a sandbox game. You just play until you don't want to play, and you put the game down. There's no progress. There's just
no story.
Well, I mean, there's no story. Cats don't have interesting lives, man. There's no story in a cat's life. What are you talking about?
I think the cat and Stray would disagree.
Yeah, well, he has a little robot friend. I can't do that. I don't believe in robots.
You can do whatever you want.
I don't believe in robots.
So make it like a talking bird or whatever.
I can do a talking bird.
So have any of you heard of Fingerbones?
No. Is it like salad fingers?
No.
All right.
Okay, so but surely the two of you have heard of the first-person shooter Dusk.
Yes.
I have heard of that, yes.
The developer of Dusk either follows me on Twitter or I follow him on Twitter.
Yes, David something or other. I forget
David
how his last name goes.
Simansky or something?
Yeah, I think... Oh, no, he doesn't follow me on Twitter. I'm confusing him for someone else.
Okay. So what's really interesting is that before he made Dusk, he actually made a bunch of walking simulators.
Ew.
Yes. One of them's called The Music Machine. Another one's called A Wolf in Autumn. I think he made another one, Silver something.
So pretentious. Holy shit.
But the first one... Shut up. The first one he ever made was called Fingerbones, which...
that does sound pretty cool. Like, that does not sound pretentious at all. Fingerbones? No. That's pretty good.
Well, you can download it for free on Steam, and it's only 30 minutes long. It even says that right when you start the game. It's like, hey, this game's only 30 minutes long. So,
Oof.
And it's pretty neat, and it does make me want to check out his other walking sims. It has that like that pixelated PS1 kind of grimy aesthetic that's gotten kind of popular as of late. I don't know. Do you guys want me to spoil what happens in the story? Do you care?
I don't care.
Go for it.
Because again, it's only 30 minutes long. So basically, there's only like 2 or 3 like actual maps. It's very, very, very small.
What?
So you walk
2 or 3?
Yes.
All right.
So you walk in, and I gotta say, atmosphere spot on. Looks fucking fantastic. I love it. And you're basically just walking around this like kind of like just broken down shed or something, and you're reading notes, and then you have to kind of like figure out, based on what the notes are saying, what codes you need to put into a keyboard in order to unlock certain doors. And when you're reading the notes, it gives you an idea what's going on. So supposedly an apocalypse happened. Some catastrophic event happened, and now everyone is like fending for themselves, and they gotta survive. And this father who's having marital issues, it's just him and his daughter, like trying to survive in this shed. But it's pretty clear reading the notes that this guy is not mentally well upstairs. Like, this guy is kind of fucked. He's very misanthropic, and he tries to justify like really reprehensible behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And the big stinger and spoiler for this is that it turns out that he raped and then ate his daughter.
Oh.
Okay. And stay classy.
Yes. And the extra kind of like layer of questionability is like, because he talks about like how he wanted something like this to happen. Like not that he wanted to do this to his daughter per se, but he wanted like an exciting like cataclysmic event to happen so that he would go into survival mode. So it kind of also brings into question, like, did anything even happen? Or is he just fucking completely crazy? And that's basically the whole game. Like I said, it's only like 30 minutes. You could definitely tell. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I love when you have like an indie game and it understands that like this sort of excessive, what's the word? Edge. It's actually really unattractive. I really like when people just like, well, this is a story I wrote about a guy who's picking flowers. And his life, it's not great. Like a short hike. I think that's a wonderful example of just how much more powerful your story can be and how much more powerful your game can be when you aren't trying to, push the envelope.
No, yeah, a short hike is a wonderful little game. I agree.
I had an idea for a short. Nah, I'm done doing this joke. It wouldn't have been funny this time. It had been funny all up until now, but this would have been too much.
But yeah, the reason I bring up the game is just because it's not that I thought like Fingerbones in and of itself was just like this amazing experience, but it was really interesting to see because I first played Dusk and I beat Dusk and thought it was really cool. So it was really fascinating to know, like, one of the like primary creative forces behind Dusk did not make first-person shooters originally. He made walking sims.
He made cringe walking sims.
I wouldn't say Fingerbones was cringe.
Just from the names, I'm saying.
Fingerbones is definitely pretty edgy. Like, I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah.
But like,
do you know?
It kind of.
Do you know when this game came out though? Because I talk a big game here, but like, if I had released some of the crap I made when I was like 17, 18, like, man, I would be looking back and being like, wow, what was this?
Okay, so he put this out on Steam in 2014, but that may not necessarily be when he first made it. I think it was originally on itch.io, probably even earlier than that, but
okay, I'm willing to
I don't know for sure.
I'm willing
I'm
to
trying
say,
to figure out how old he even is, but
I think he's like probably in his 30s. I don't know why I think that, but I just think that.
He doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
Weak. We should have him on the podcast. Hey man, why did you make so many cringe-ass walking simulators?
Yeah. Why did you name your game A Wolf in Autumn?
It's about a wolf, and there's autumn. What I was supposed to name it, man?
So yeah, he also made another game called Iron Lung, and that one seems pretty interesting because
that is an incredible game.
Okay, you've played that one.
I've played that one. That's really good.
Okay, so for Boken, that game is basically about you being in a submarine and you're exploring around, and you need to take like snapshots of like different stuff in the environment, but like you can't see very well what's going on. You have to kind of like basically infer based on the mechanisms of the submarine, and I think you have like a map or something. But the game is pretty vague about like where precisely you are, and you just need to really need to use your head to figure out what you're doing.
And why can't you see what's going on?
Because like there's not a window, right? It's not like, oh, you just look outside the giant window. You're in a tiny little cramped submarine, and you have to like take photos.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think it's a lot like the PT hallway, where you just have this enclosed space, and there's a lot of interesting experiments with how do you tell a story when the player is like in this tiny little cubicle, and there's nothing like they have like I think you have some buttons, you have like a crank and some interfaces, you have a little monitor to see the outside, and yeah, I think that's really interesting. He did a lot with very little in that one. And that's actually you know, I talk bad about the walking sims. I think there is some walking sim sensibility in that, where you know you don't have a lot, so how can you make something really interesting?
Yeah, walking sims have a good usually like a good idea how to use their space.
Yeah.
And because they don't have any other game mechanics, right?
Yeah, and this, like, the space is literally, like, 3 footsteps large, or something like that.
Okay.
You should play it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you don't want to play it. I don't know why you hate games.
There's only one game I play.
BoJack Horseman?
Sorry.
Yes. So, moving on from Fingerbones, I also played through Deltarune Chapter 2. Boken, have you played through it?
You already...
No.
Didn't you already...
Didn't you already We did the first chapter.
We did Chapter 1.
I'm sorry.
And after the first chapter, I decided I'm going to wait until this thing is fully out.
Okay. That's fair, but I was like, I want to play Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is even better than Chapter 1. And Chapter 2 also has it's not specifically a genocide route, but it does introduce a new route that is like in the spirit of a genocide route, but is a lot more interesting. I don't know if you want me to say anything more than that. I don't know if you want to keep it, fresh for when you play it.
Yeah. Kinda. I mean, I think I'm gonna just play the whole thing when it's fully out, including Chapter 1 again, because it's not like a lot of it has stuck in my mind.
Okay. I'll just say, I'll keep it short so you don't get spoiled. I thought Chapter 2 was fantastic. The final boss fight in particular was one of the best boss fights that Toby Fox has ever done. It was a blast. And Chapter 2 has me even more excited for Deltarune. I almost regret playing Chapter 2 because now I'm like, fuck, I really want to keep playing. But
exactly, yeah. And
yeah.
There's like no ETA on when that even is going further?
No, but now that Toby has a bigger team now, he did decide to, because originally Deltarune was only going to be 5 chapters, but now it's going to be 7.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's pretty cool. So I'll just leave it like that. Chapter 2
it's
was
like
fucking
Star
sick.
Citizen all over again.
I don't know about that. At least Deltarune is competently made. Isn't Star Citizen like a whole fucking like mess?
Yeah, Star Citizen is a scam.
Yeah, it's a huge scam where people are just like pumping like thousands of dollars into a game that's just like a huge dumpster fire.
It's a scam where you can buy ships that don't even exist yet.
I'll tell you that boys, Mark Hamill would not put his name on a scam except for Star Wars. I find it's amazing that you guys have so much time to play these indie games by Toby Fox, and yet you have never played Snail, the seminal game of 2021. Essays and Espresso, SAE nominated indie game of the year. Didn't win.
Well, how about you do like a creator commentary on your game while one of us plays your game?
You could just force us to play it.
I could.
Yeah, we could
with one of our recommendation episodes.
But I think it'd be cool if one of us was playing your game, and like all of us were in a call, and you could be like smug about like, you don't get my game, loser.
You know, the enemy is actually supposed to start walking all over the map over all of the wall collisions. That's artistically designed to be that way.
I guess my game is just too smart for you.
Oh, what, you rolled into the mountain? Well, good luck getting out. I'm actually remaking that game right now. It's pretty fun.
Oh, you're remaking? Okay.
Well, so, like, didn't I tell you how that game came about?
I thought you were making it as kind of like a testing grounds of sorts.
Yeah, I just needed all of the mechanics for my game in the same spot to make sure they interacted correctly. And now that I've updated them all, I was like, I might as well just update Snail. And I'm going through it, and I recently replayed through the original game, and I'm like, wow, there's nothing going on here. There's so much stuff missing. Where's the lake that has the face in it and talks to you? Where's the slime mini story? What's going on? Where's all the different endings? Yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
I'm gonna get my coffee.
You're gonna what? Did you just leave?
What the fuck? This is highly unprofessional.
Am I gonna have to cut this segment out?
Oh, are you editing? Then yes.
I thought I was.
I keep going, whatever. We're almost done. The fuck is he doing?
I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, Deltarune, Chapter 2. Good shit. I'm thinking of making a video about it because Deltarune Chapter 2 in particular, especially in the... it's called I think fans like to call it the Snowcloak route. That one in particular it brings up some really interesting questions concerning the player's role in the narrative as a separate entity from the protagonist. So okay. I was like, I know Undertale kind of touched on that, but like Deltarune is leaning harder into it in some interesting ways. So.
How would you rate the soundtrack?
Fucking 10 out of 10.
All right.
For Snail?
Like Toby Fox.
Oh.
Yes. Toby Fox has yet to not release a banger of a soundtrack, dude.
Does he
kills it every time.
Does he write his own music?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I don't. See what I'm doing.
I love when he does leitmotifs and he's just like, oh, remember this from this composition from like a separate track. Well, it's coming back again in this one. Don't you feel amazing?
What's a leitmotif?
It's like a musical callback essentially.
Oh.
It's a leitmotif.
I think it's leitmotif actually.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I've heard it both ways.
No, it's light because it's a German word. And leiten means like to guide.
Oh,
So it's supposed
okay.
to
Well,
guide you along.
And motif means music. Moving on.
So, have you guys ever tried VR?
No.
Nope.
But I think it's the future of gaming.
You guys are still stuck in
Was
the
that
past.
a joke?
No. I mean, I think I'm very like pro VR. I think the different interface paradigm, it's not the same as when games move to 3D, but I think this is a big enough change that a lot of experimentation is going to be needed. I don't think Half-Life Alyx is enough. I think we're going to see a lot more cool, experimental, weird games with big budgets.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be important for the future. When I ever think of like OVR's the future of gaming, all that pops into my mind is like of those fucked up cyberpunk worlds where like the drugged out junkie is just in some empty room in the corner with a VR headset on, just living through some fantasy on drugs,
playing a walking simulator. I mean, we're not that far away from that.
Oh, you can be the drugged out junkie.
Whoa!
Crumbling apartment.
Hey man, how do you know how I live?
So I played a few VR games like Pistol Whip, Beat Saber, Super Hot. I'm assuming you guys know about those games, right?
Yep.
Not the first one, Pistol Whip.
Okay, Pistol Whip is basically Beat Saber but with guns.
Okay.
So it's like you're shooting. Yeah, you're basically shooting at people to the beat of a song and, dodging stuff.
Yeah.
You can also like punch people in the face. It's pretty cool.
Wait, is this one of those violence games?
Very much violence.
I'm gonna call my priest and we're gonna get this game off the shelves.
Playing the game kind of makes me feel like I am John Wick in a fight scene.
I think I could take John Wick.
Like, it's pretty cool, especially when you're...
That's a leitmotif! I brought it back!
You did. It wasn't musical, though, but you did bring it back.
Oh, damn, that's true.
But, like, especially when you're dual-wielding pistols, and you're just, like, shooting guys left and right, and you're, like, dodging bullets, and it feels fucking amazing. And you get at least for me, when I'm doing it, it feels like a workout.
Yeah, I've heard
it's a lot of fun.
I've heard for Super Hot that's a game that was like really fun on PC, but like once it became a VR game, it's like, oh, okay, you've really unlocked the latent potential of what you had here.
Yeah, Super Hot in VR is intense. Like, and surprisingly pretty tough. Like, the PC version got tough towards the end, but like the VR version, maybe I just need to get used to it, but like I was surprised at how much I was getting my ass kicked. I was like, shit. But like there is like some stuff that you can do in VR that you can't do in the PC version. Like, you can block bullets with whatever you're holding. You can even like grab bullets with your hands.
I've heard I think it was from one of the 1 minute essay videos. It may have been Lamphood. Who was it that was talking about reloading in VR? And how much they just...
I think that was the Snaker.
Oh, okay. Just the idea of like, this is one of those things that you take for granted in video games because you press a button and then the guy does it, because there's not a really elegant way of gamifying reloading in a game. But once you put it in VR and you have to physically do it, all of a sudden that becomes incorporated into the tempo of combat.
Yes.
Yes.
So that brings me to the game I put the most time into for obvious reasons, Resident Evil 4.
That's another game
So
I've heard is pretty good in VR, unless you're a woman.
Yes, unfortunately.
Do you
it's weird.
Do you know about this?
Yeah,
Bogan?
because
No.
Okay. Daniel.
so basically, yeah. So the game basically acts like your body mass is the same as Leon's, and he has all of his weapons on his person.
So if you're trying to get a weapon that's on your chest, that's kind of difficult when
Yes.
you're a girl.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they have
Yes.
breasts.
So
they're just like
Yes,
girls
I
have to like.
understand the concept.
Yeah, but women have
So
breasts. Bogan.
Lambhoot, for example, he's a bigger dude. You know, no disrespect to him. He even said it in his video about Resident Evil 4. He's like, "Hey, I'm a big dude. I got boobies," and he demonstrated on camera. He's like, "If I want to get Leon's knife, I have to dig the controller into my boob."
Okay.
Yeah, this is. I love this because it's one of those it's one of those like when you play fifth gen games and people are like, "How the hell does 3D work?" I love this because it's like, oh, we didn't think to account for different body types. That's something you're going to have to like. Future games are going to have to learn, and they're going to have to like. You're going to have to actually input into the controller how big you are, so that the game can remold the body type to better fit you.
That's so weird.
For me,
that's such a weird thing to overlook.
Yeah, for me, it's not a problem because I weigh 130 pounds. Like, I'm a pretty skinny guy. So,
damn, you're
for
like
me,
Bruce
I'm just
Lee.
like, okay.
I think I could take you.
Yeah. I doubt that. But, like, for me, it's not an issue. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I just grab the knife or, you know, the grenade or whatever, which is, like, right in your chest area. But, like, yeah, I saw my sister try to play the game and she was having trouble. But, like, getting aside, putting that aside, Resident Evil 4, I'm very familiar with the game. Like, I've beaten it, like, 4 or 5 times. So, being inside of Resident Evil 4 is trippy. It's really weird. And because it's like, it feels so familiar, but yet I'm looking at it in this completely new perspective. And it is really funky. But so much fun. Like, I'm enjoying the shit out of it. And one of the things I really enjoy is the reloading. I enjoy it so much that I've intentionally decided I'm going to level up the starting rifle and the starting shotgun because they're more manual. You have to pump the shotgun. You have to like pull on the the bolt action rifle to get it working. And that I like that so much that I feel like if I were to get the semi-automatic rifle or the semi-automatic shotgun, I feel like that would take away a lot of the enjoyment of like that kind of physicality that you have with the weapons.
How much does is VR still like a $400 dealie, or?
Yeah, and I think they recently announced that they're going to increase the price by $100.
Sony, what are you doing?
Yeah, this is not Sony's fault. This is Facebook Oculus's fault.
Oculus? Oh,
yeah. No, unfortunately, Resident Evil 4 is exclusive to the Oculus store.
Oh,
very, very disappointing.
I like.
That's interesting.
If rumors are true and FromSoft is doing another Armored Core, I think I would buy a new like a PS5 with VR to play that to do like mech combat in VR. I think that would be enough for me to make the jump.
Oh, kind of like Steel Battalion.
I don't know.
Steel Battalion was like an original Xbox game that came with a huge controller that was basically like being inside of a mech suit.
Ah. Yeah.
There was even a button where you could self-destruct and it would delete your save file.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So, yeah. Resident Evil 4 is fucking awesome. And playing it again in VR, like, what a fucking trip.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I had a few other topics, but I think I'll leave them for next time. because we're starting to get a little long in the tooth. So I came out with a couple of videos.
This is remarkably short of an episode, actually. We're not even at the 2-hour mark.
We're almost at the 2-hour mark.
That's true.
Well, not almost.
We're 20 minutes away. Anyways, I came out with a couple of videos. I don't remember if I talked about the messy relationship with MMO videos last time.
No.
Bogan edited it, so I'll take his word for it.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know. I feel like you didn't, but it's not like I have to review that part.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So yeah, that video is basically me talking about how I grew up with RuneScape and how that game kind of soured me on MMOs for like a long time.
Yeah, wasn't your account hacked?
Yeah. What is it?
What, didn't somebody steal all of the stuff from your account?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My account got hacked, and they stole all my stuff. And after that, I was just like, "Fuck this game forever." And yeah, it totally killed my any desire for me to go back to that game. And again, kind of soured me on MMOs in general after that. Like I played a couple here and there. I played like Phantasy Star Online. I played DC Universe Online. I played what else? I think I played like one or two more. But after it wasn't until Final Fantasy 14 where I finally came back and I was like, okay, I like this one. I don't think I'm gonna play any other MMOs though. I'm pretty happy with 14. But yeah, the video is basically just me going through my history with the genre and why 14 specifically did it for me.
Yeah.
And the video I released pretty recently is my video on Scott Pilgrim. Have you guys seen that one yet?
Yep.
No, I haven't.
Oh,
sorry.
Boken, what did you think?
Yeah, it was pretty good. You know,
pretty good.
Bit personal, but okay.
Well, that was the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted the video to be like, for there to be some analysis as well. I didn't want it to just be me purely spilling my guts out, but like I did want to kind of like add that personal like element in the video so that the audience could like get an understanding of like where I was coming from and why I took the messages that I did from the graphic novel.
Yeah, I mean, for that it was mission accomplished, I guess. Oh, not I guess. Yes, it was.
Oh, thank you. I'm really happy with how it came out, especially in terms of the visuals.
Yeah, the alignment of the comics and stuff, that was really good.
Yeah, shout outs to Atmos Fabula for that. That was his doing.
Oh, nice.
Really, really impressed with the work he did. And if anyone listening needs a good editor, be sure to hit him up. He does great work, very easy to work with. And you could see my Scott Pilgrim video to see his chops. He fucking killed it, honestly. Acer, I know you've come up with like a bunch of stuff, so why don't you pimp out your videos?
I made a couple of Dark Souls videos 2 years ago. This is pre-pandemic. Because my friend Loki, who's like a translator for FromSoft games, like he doesn't work for Frog Nation. He just independently goes through the Japanese scripts and talks about errors in translation. He was doing a project with the publisher's name is like Fairbanks and something. The name escapes me, but the project is the Abyssal Archive, where it's Dark Souls 1. It's a complete retranslation of the game, and this is like, here's stuff that was lost in translation. Here's the ramifications of it. It's just a complete sort of compendium of Dark Souls 1's story. For example, how... Do you guys remember Dark Souls lore videos from like 2011, 2012, where people speculated, maybe Solaire is the is Gwyn's son. Do you guys remember that era?
Not particularly.
Your silence speaks volumes. Anyways, people latched onto that theory because Solaire has a line where he says the son is like it's magnificent, like a grossly incandescent father or something like that. But like the original intent that he, like the son left to be with the dragons, that stuff is in the game. You just can't see it because the translations are off in places. So that's a big project that he was working on, and I wanted to, like, he asked me if I wanted to help him promote it. So I made like a video just like talking about Gwyn. I got to see some of the translations he'd done for Gwyn, and it's just the story of Gwyn from beginning to end. And I did just like a conventional breakdown video for Dark Souls. Then the pandemic hit, and we had to push this back a little bit, and we had to push it back some more and more and more and more. And now, almost 2 years later, it was finally time to re-release it, and it was the first time in like 2 years that I actually got to see the videos. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, man, this isn't really up to my standards anymore. Like, I was okay with this 2 years ago, but now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I really should fix that, and that, and that, and that. Why is this sentence here? So I had to like go back and clean it up. And I implore people to watch them and try to pick up where where my new edits are versus where the old ones are. Because there's a lot of it in there. But yeah. So I finally did a Dark Souls video, and yet I don't have 1 million subscribers. What the heck is that about? And I'm going to be recording another video with Loki soon, where we talk about the translation a bit more. So that's going to be fun. I'm also working on an essay for Dark Souls for a book that's coming out. I've more or less gotten like the confirmation that I'm in it. So I'm gonna get to work on that very soon. And other than that, I mean, like I said, I've just been remaking Snail in between having COVID and working. I think my schedule is finally like a bit my own again, so I'm going to be able to get back to work on stuff. So that's fun. Don't know what videos I'm doing next though. Probably Armored Core and something that isn't FromSoft. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Bogan, are you working on something?
Nope.
Oh.
Just like always.
Exactly.
I feel.
All right. Well, I think that's it.
I feel, Bogan, that you should edit our audio, like for our videos.
He's not doing anything.
Yeah. He doesn't have like his own stuff going on.
I don't mind. We can do that.
No.
Editing these episodes really isn't much work. I don't know why you guys always take so long.
Because I usually have something else like on the editing bay, and I have to open up a new version of Vegas.
I do other shit too. I have a life.
Do you though? Do you really?
Do you want to take over full editing of the Essays and Espresso podcast? Is that what you're saying?
Fine, I don't give a fuck.
All right then.
You're still making the thumbnails though.
I will make all the thumbnails if you take care of the editing.
Yeah, fine.
You're not gonna do that.
I mean, I can make the thumbnails as well.
No, what should Daniel do? I think we should make Daniel sing like a theme song at the end where he like recaps what we talked about in the episode, and it has to be a new song every time. What do you think, Bogan?
You can take over my job of putting the episodes on YouTube if you want.
No, I don't want to do that.
Oh, really? You don't want to do that, huh?
Nah.
I feel like if you're editing it, you may as well be the one to like upload it, because otherwise you're just uploading.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's funny because so far I always did it.
No,
regardless of who edited it.
I upload them to YouTube.
I've uploaded it to YouTube.
Yeah, you upload the fucking video. The actual work part is to do the description.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, if Daniel, you want to take care of it. I thought you just meant uploading it to YouTube.
No.
I was like,
you clicked a button. Wow.
I was like, because then you're editing it and you're uploading it to Drive for Daniel to download and then upload to YouTube. It's like, what?
No,
that doesn't make any sense. I think we've been fine the way we've been going. There's no need to shake it up.
Oh, so I don't do all the editing. Okay.
You can do all the editing.
Yeah, it's not like I want to.
I don't mind editing it. It's not a big deal.
I mind it.
I think, Acer, you just don't want to edit.
I don't want to edit. I have so many... because... No, okay, so here's the thing. Okay. I have a lot of stuff going on. And I know you two can't relate to that.
Oh, really?
Hey, guys, maybe Acer should do all the editing.
The guy that has released several multi-hour commentary videos on Dark Souls and Kingsfield.
Yeah, I have that going on.
You have so much going on in your life.
I have that going on.
You want to know how much? I think we should compare. How much time have I spent in Final Fantasy XIV versus how much time did your editing take altogether?
If you have time to play Final Fantasy XIV.
You sound like my mother.
Does your mother bitch at you for playing too much FF14?
No.
I thought, Bogan, not to get too personal, I thought you were an orphan.
I am.
Yeah, Daniel, that's messed
just
up.
Making a joke.
That's fucked up,
yeah,
Daniel.
Oh, I did not know you were an orphan.
That's a really insensitive thing for you to say. Because I know for a fact that when he talked about this, you were on the call with me and your boomer brain doesn't remember? I don't remember if you were on the call.
Daniel doesn't remember a lot of things.
I don't remember if he was actually on the call.
Shut up! Leave me alone. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for forgetting. If I forgot, if I was there. Now I don't know.
Oh, also I forgot to say, my godson recently had to go to the hospital to have like a part of his small intestines removed, and apparently it's like a birth defect, and he's just had like massive stomach ache, like a huge stomach ache his whole life. He's like 4 or 5 years old now. I'm like, damn, kid. That doctors better treat you right, or I, the Godfather, am gonna have to do things. Oh!
I think that's all the time we have.
Oh, no, I forgot. I wanted to talk about The Offer. Did you guys watch that show?
No, you're not bringing back another topic.
No, I'm not.
No,
that's it.
End it.
I'm not talking about it. I'll talk about it later.
You could talk about it next time we record. That's all the time we have for you folks. Next time we'll either be doing a video on the X anime / manga / movie / whatever, or either that or a topic.
I feel
a
like
regular topic.
If people want to watch that with us, you should probably like actually say what it is, rather than just like blurt that out.
It's an anime. No, it was all those things I said. It's an anime, it's a manga, and there's a movie version.
Oh, I thought you were just like saying things.
No, I was not just saying things.
No,
it was all
true.
accurate.
That is actually true. I think we should do The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises first, to be honest.
You want to do that first?
Yeah.
I haven't seen those.
Okay.
What do you mean you haven't seen those?
It's a funny joke. Just a goof.
Okay.
This is like...
I liked our Batman discussion.
I wonder if you like graph our episodes from like beginning to end, I wonder if you can like pinpoint like the sort of estimate for when we just get goofy, for when like it just all comes to crap. It's like, yeah, around the 2 hour mark.
It just turns to shit.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.